All right, Joe, it's time for the Pick Six now for the NFL Week 6 Sunday slate and beyond. Again, a reminder of the Pick Six, our favorite touchdown score, a pay-dirt pick for you. Moneyline Underdog to pull off the outright upset, our favorite under of the weekend. An alt line with a sprinkle of plus money, our favorite yardage prop. Joe and I thinking about the same guy, but in two different ways. And we combine forces for a two-leg, 6-point teaser that through 5 weeks, Joe, in the year of the underdog, we have not hit on together yet. Might it happen in week 6? Let's start with the touchdown score. What do you like?
I'm going to go, Craig, because I can't remember the last time we were able to get this at this price here. And I'm going to go back to a very old, reliable Mark Andrews anytime touchdown at better than 3-1 here. Ben, listen, Andrews has always been Lamar's guy, but he's also finally now getting healthier by the week. A training camp car accident, an injury last year, and all of a sudden we're trying to figure out where is Mark Andrews, what's going on. He's now gone 8 straight Lamar Jackson starts without a TD. He never went more than 6. He's facing an awful pass defense here that's already allowed 11 passing touchdowns. I have no doubt that he is going to be involved in this and get back on track with Lamar. This is the game and the price you want to back Mark Andrews getting an anytime touchdown.
It's an astronomical number. Lamar Jackson threw 3 touchdowns a week ago, 2 of them to a tight end, just not Mark. Actually, I think he had 4 passing touchdowns last week, 3 of them to tight ends. Charlie Kohler, the second-year player out of Iowa State, and 2 to Isaiah Likely. Although Mark Andrews was involved in the passing attack. Joe, same kind of thought process for me. CeeDee Lamb minus 125 against the Detroit Lions. It's the highest total of the weekend. 52.5. We saw CeeDee Lamb verbally upset last week at Dak Prescott for what was an abysmal interception thrown late. Well, the last time CeeDee was not happy, and then owned up to it was the game for the Cowboys where he had 7 grabs on 8 targets for 98 yards and a touchdown against the New York Giants. CeeDee only has 2 TDs this year. He'll find pay dirt for at least a third time on Sunday against Detroit. The Lions secondary still a little bit of a work in progress this season.
Yeah, no, again, he is the guy that you have to scheme against and worry about. And even teams like Pittsburgh, for instance, there's only so much you can do. And I think that connection is going to have to carry the Cowboys for a while. I'm with you here, Ben. It's that combo or bust for Dallas.
All right, Moneyline Underdog time, Joe. Who pulls off the slight upset this week outright?
Yeah, well, it's not a huge underdog, but it's an underdog nonetheless. And I believe Jacksonville goes home to London and wins this game at plus money. I think they win it out here. I do not, still, as good as I think Chicago looked or has looked over the last couple of weeks, and Caleb Williams, I do think what we got in that game against Indy from Trevor Lawrence and that offense, I think that could be the catalyst for them to start getting the ball rolling here. I don't think they're going to regress. I think the offense is going to have success against a huge zone-playing Chicago defense, and I do think when it's all said and done, they'll have their second win. By the way, they're staying for another week to play another game next week there, so I like Jacksonville's chances in this one to pull the upset.
Which is what the Jaguars did last year. They were a perfect 2-0 in their London games, including outright as a 5.5-point dog against Buffalo in their second London game a year ago. They have played 11 games across the pond. They're 6-5. They're 2-0 in Tottenham Stadium. The recipe for the Jags. By the way, the Bears' 2 losses this year, both away from Chicago. My Moneyline Underdog and the rest of the Week 6 Pick 6 next. Live right here on the early line. It's a Football Friday. It's our Week 6 Pick 6 all around the NFL Sunday slate and beyond. Moneyline Underdog for Joe Ranieri. The Jags as a slight dog in London. For me, it's the Colts as a slight underdog in Tennessee. Now, I might actually feel better about this if Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback. Anthony Richardson is trending toward a return. And right before he got injured against the Steelers 2 Sundays ago, he was playing phenomenal football, about to lead the Colts to their second touchdown drive in as many offensive possessions to start that game. So we're hoping for good out of AR. You also get JT back more than likely, Jonathan Taylor, the running back for Indianapolis. And frankly, Joe, it comes down to my disdain, if you want to call it that. I don't think he's a bad guy personally. I just don't think he's fit to be an NFL starting quarterback. That is Will Levis. This is the first game for the Titans as the favorite since 2022. They were not a favorite at all last year and have been booked as the dog in all 5 games this season. And they're just 1-4. What's very interesting about this game for Indianapolis, it will be their 6th game this year if the line holds, where all 6 have been played with a spread, either Indy slightly favored or slightly the dog, of 2.5 points to 3.5 points for that spread. I don't think Tennessee should be favored against anybody. Give me Indianapolis outright.
Yeah, listen, it's I got to see it before I believe it. I think the fact that they're going with Will Levis is nice, but I think we ultimately understand, Ben, there's a good chance he's going to shoot himself in the foot before it's all said and done.
Yeah. Props not out just yet for Indianapolis. Passing yards prop for Levis, 192.5. Favorite under of the weekend is where and in what game?
I am going to go Atlanta and Carolina. It was 47.5. I think it's down to probably 46.5. And I agree with the market move. Listen, this is a terrible spot for Atlanta. This is a team that is now going to be a road favorite of more than a field goal, coming off of not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive home games and no bye anywhere in there. That has been a bad bet historically to back a team like that. Not to mention they're going to Carolina and taking on an NFL team that just got beat by more than 3 touchdowns. That is usually also not a team that I want to be laying that many points against. Yeah. I think the market overreacted to the 509 passing yards of Kirk Cousins. Now apparently Atlanta's the greatest offense in the world. I'm not buying it. Both defenses love to force you to milk the clock and go 10, 12, 13 play drives in order to be able to score. I think that's exactly what we're going to get here. I don't think this is a high-scoring game in any way, shape, or form. I'm on the under.
The Falcons' first over of the year 2 weeks ago in their first divisional game, by the way, and they went to the over without scoring a single offensive touchdown against the Saints. The Falcons have played 2 straight overs, both in NFC South showdowns. Big weekend in the NFC South, as the Bucs also will visit New Orleans and the Saints, starting rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler. Carolina, Joe, what an intriguing team. An underdog in all 22 games since the start of last year, just 5, 15, and 2 against the spread. They're 1-4 ATS this year as the underdog in all 5. The only cover, the outright win, of course, in Andy Dalton's first start this season. They have gone over in all 3 starts that Dalton has been under center in Carolina. I do kind of agree, though. Feels like a sleepy spot. Also, Joe, just want to mention this, 6.5 points as you see the number there. In the year of the underdog, 5.5 points dogs or greater, now 19-5-1 against the spread, entering week number 6. Last week, there was only 2 spots on the Sunday slate, 3 in total, and the underdogs were 2-1 against the spread. New Orleans, the only one not to cover or, in fact, win outright. We've got 5 games on Sunday with a 5.5 point number or greater, which leads me to my favorite under of the weekend. And another one of those spots, the Patriots, a 6.5 point dog against Houston. The Texans have not been a great cover team this year, despite a 4-1 start, 1-3-1 against the spread as the favorite under C.J. Stroud, 4-8-1 against the number. Don't know if this game is a blowout for the Texans, as many anticipate. I just think it's a really rough spot for Drake May to make his NFL starting debut. The Pats have allowed 19 sacks this year, second most through 5 weeks. Houston, one of 10 teams around the NFL with at least 15 sacks in the opening 5 weeks of the year, pressuring the quarterback in a ton. Maybe Drake May over 25.5 rushing yards is a way to play it. I think the Patriots stay under their team total of 15.5.
Yeah, I mean, really hard not to just blindly play that every week, Ben. You know, matchups are interesting. I will say this. The one intriguing thing about that game is that Houston is a bottom 5 defense against the rush.
Yep.
We know they don't do a lot of things great, but you're putting a rookie out there. You're going to have to run the ball. It'll be interesting to see what Houston can do to stop it.
It's been their recipe, Joe. In the 2 games that New England played competitively this year to start the season, Ramondre Stevenson, who's had his turnover issues, and Antonio Gibson were phenomenal. They got to grind the clock out if they are going to keep this game within the number, but also would it help for the Pats staying under 15.5 points. All right, Chargers, Broncos is the lowest total of the weekend, Joe, at 35.5, but apparently not low enough for you in your alt line.
Oh, hell no, is that low enough? Absolutely looking at the alt line here. I think it's listed at 35.5, 36. I don't think we get the 30 points in this game here. Bo Nix is not going to throw against this Chargers defense. The Chargers get both starting offensive tackles back for this game.
Yep.
I do think they're going to run it down the throat. And I do think they're going to have an opportunity to get some points on the board. I just don't see where the points are coming from Denver. This feels like a 17-3 kind of game, and that's the way I'm playing it, under 30.5.
The Chargers off the bye, much healthier offensively, but the only team that has been under in every game this year. Only 4 examples for the Chargers as compared to 5 for a lot of other teams, but under by an average margin of 9.9 points per game. We'll continue the pick 6 with some more best bets for the weekend up next. The NFL Sunday slate week number 6 and our pick 6 continues. Alt line for me, Joe Ranieri, as we fly through our final picks and bets. Buccaneers laying 6.5 to win by a touchdown at plus 148. I know it's been a difficult week in Tampa. All of our thoughts, our prayers, everything that we can share with that community. The Buccaneers, because of Hurricane Milton, left early in the week, an unorthodox logistical schedule. They've been practicing at Tulane Stadium in New Orleans in preparation for a huge NFC South showdown on Sunday. But I think they step up to the spot after coughing up an opportunity to win one on the road Thursday Night Football a week ago. They've had the mini bye. They've had time to get healthier on the defensive side. And frankly, I like Spencer Rattler. I think it was the right decision after Derek Carr suffered the oblique injury to start Rattler in favor of Jake Haener. Just think it's going to be a difficult spot in his first NFL game on Sunday. Give me the Bucs laying 6.5 at plus 148 as my alt line.
Yeah, I can't argue with that either. I listen, I thought New Orleans was a little overvalued to begin with. They had some early success in those games to start, Ben, and everyone fell in love with them. Still not a good offensive line. Defense has issues. Yeah. I'm with you here. I think it's a great opportunity to back Tampa to get on track.
And I understand that even laying 3.5 in a road divisional game when you have been away from home for longer than expected is insane. I just think it's a bad spot for the rookie quarterback in Spencer Rattler. Joe, our yardage prop is the same guy, but in 2 different components kind of tied into one. We're both focused on Bijan Robinson against Carolina. You like rushing? I like rushing plus receiving just to add it up a little bit. Break down Bijan on Sunday.
Well, I think, listen, I mean, Bijan Robinson, it was 68.5, I believe, the rushing yards, but he's only cleared this number once. But I love the fact that they got extra rest, and I love the fact that schematic-wise, they're going up against a Panthers defense that loves to funnel the run. I do think that they're not going to ask, good old Kirk Cousins to have to drop back 50-plus times in this game. I don't think they'll have to. I think there's also a pretty good chance with the Falcons as a 6-point favorite. They're going to be running the ball a lot in the fourth quarter here. And we know his breakout potential, his explosive potential there. I mean, look what Chase Brown did back in week 4 against this defense. I do think this is a short number. I think it's a great opportunity to back him to get well over this. I think he gets 100 yards in this game, Ben. I really do.
I mean, Joe, you feel bad for Carolina in a way. Just so many defensive injuries. One of the bright spots on the defensive line, Derek Brown out for the year early this season. Shaq Thomas out for the year. That was announced late last week. They've got a ton of guys questionable who haven't practiced either on the D-line or in the linebacking core. And the Panthers are already the 5th worst total defense in the National Football League. So I'll go Bijan Robinson over 95.5 rushing plus receiving, a number he was well over in the opening 2 games for the Falcons this season, at least 111 scrimmage yards. And then for some reason, it has kind of dwindled off. It needs to happen. He is your best offensive player still. Feed him the football in a favorable spot on the road to get out of Carolina with a huge divisional victory and start 3-0 in the NFC South. That would be something for Raheem Morris in his first year, once again, as the head coach in the A. Let's combine forces, and let's get it done this time, Joe Ranieri. Our 2-leg, 6-point teaser. You begin, and you're looking beyond Sunday. Take it away.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely disgusting. I hate myself already, Ben, for even thinking about this. But the reality is there's no way you can't bet it. I'm going to take the New York Jets. It's a new era. Jeff Ulbrich is your interim head coach. He's already sat Hackett and told him, sit in the corner. Nobody's interested in what you have to say anymore. Downing is your new OC calling the plays. And we have seen this, right? The new coach, you fire Saleh, who apparently was liked by some in that locker room, but not all. I do think Buffalo's still a little banged up. It's a great opportunity to back the Jets getting over a touchdown here.
Let's call it what it is. It's a must-win game, even in Week 6, even on a Monday night for the New York Jets to turn the entire season around after only 5 weeks. It might be the best game of Week 6, and it's on Monday. Give me the Broncos up to 9. We'll take them through 3 through 7. 9-point dog in a game, Joe, that you alluded to, has the lowest total, and it might not be low enough. The Broncos 4-1 against the spread this year. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday back on the early line.